Okay, hey everybody, we're on 867 on our problem solving investigation lesson. So there's going to be a variety of different problem solving techniques on this page. So we're going to go ahead and start. Now what I need you to do is before you begin, I want you to get some scratch paper to work with. There is some space here, but it's really not enough for what we need for this page. So why don't you stop the video right now, get yourself some scratch paper to work with, because you're going to have to write along with me as I'm going and narrating this video. Okay, hopefully you have your scratch paper, so now let's go ahead and begin. It says, keep trying, guess, check, and revise to solve each of the problems. So let's start. A toy store sold $67 worth of stuffed animals. They sold 12 stuffed animals in all. The prices are shown. How many of each did they sell? So the prices are here. Now this one is $5 for a small one. And you can't quite see the moose. The moose is $6, but you can see that on your paper if you're following along with me in your book. So the small stuffed animals are $5, the large are $6. What we need to know is there were 12 in all, 67 total. How many were sold of each? So now take your piece of paper, your scratch paper, and we're just going to start. We need to have 12 animals sold. I'm going to start with 5 large. So on your piece of paper, you're going to write 5 times 6, because the large ones are $6 each, and then 7 small. So that would be 7 times 5, because the small ones are $5 each, and we're going to add that up. Now, how did I come up with the 5 and the 7? I came up with that because I need 12 in all. I need 12 purchased in all. So I'm going to take the number purchased times how much they cost for the large and the small, add them together and see what I've got. So far I have 5 large, which are $6 each. That's 30 times 7 small, which are $5 each. That's 35. Now go ahead and add those two together. 30 plus 35, that gives us, right, 65. That's too low because look, the total amount is 67. So we're really close, but let's go ahead and revise. So this time, instead of saying there are 5 large, I'm going to say there are 6 large. So please write this down on your paper. 6 large times $6 each. 6 times 6 is 36. Good. And I'm going to have 6 small. So that would be 6 small ones times $5 each. 6 times 5 is 30. Good. So now I'm going to add together 36 plus 30, and that gives me a total of 66. Really getting closer, but the total had to be 67, not 66. So I have to try one more time. Now remember, when I choose the numbers I pick, I got to make sure that it's 12 in all. I've so far used 5 large, 5 small, 6 large, 6 small. This time I'm going to use 7 large and 5 small. So here we go. 7 large stuffed animals times $6 each would be 7 times 6. Write that on your paper. 7 times 6. Boy, I hope you remember your 6s and 7s. Well, that's 42. Good. And then I'm going to purchase 5 small, which would be 5 times $5 each. 5 times 5 is, awesome, 25. So now I'm going to add together 42 plus 25. Go ahead and take a minute and do that. 42 and 25. What did you get? Did you get 67? If you did, you're correct, and that's the answer to our problem, 67, 12 animals. So on the line here, I'm going to write 7 large, 5 small. because that's the combination of purchases that added up to $67 worth of stuffed animals. Okay, good. Now let's go on to number 2. Ed has some hexagon and square pattern blocks. There are a total of 24 sides. He has 5 blocks. How many of each polygon does he have? This is very similar to the one we did on 865 where they wanted to know how many sides and how many were each. So let's review what we know first about a hexagon. A hexagon has how many sides? It has 6. That's important to know. How many sides does a square have? That has 4. That's important to know too. So now let's just start with, again, we need 24 total sides, 5 blocks. Let's just start with one hexagon. So on your paper, go back to your scratch paper and write this down. 1 hexagon times 6 sides is 1 times 6, you should know that, 6, good. And then I need to have 5 total figures, so if I had 1 hexagon, I need 4 here to get to the 5 total figures. So this is now going to be 4 times 4, because they're squares. So we're going to write 4 times 4 equals 16. So far I have 1 hexagon with 6 sides, 4 squares with 16 sides. If I add 6 and 16 together, what do I get? I get 22. Too low, right? Because the total amount has to be 24. So now we're going to try again. And again, don't be upset if you don't get the answer the first time. The idea is to do the guess and check. So now let's try another one. Let's this time, instead of having 1 hexagon, try 2 hexagons. So on your paper, scratch paper, you're going to write 2 times the number of sides of a hexagon, 6. And 2 times 6 is 12. It's 12 sides for 2 hexagons. And now since I'm using 2 hexagons, I'm going to use only 3 squares. Why? Because I need the total amount of figures to be 5. If I have 2 hexagons and I have 3 squares, that gives me 5 figures, right? So now I'm going to multiply 3 squares times 4, because there's 4 sides on each square, and I get the answer. 3 times 4 is 12. Good. Now I go back and add 2 hexagons at 6 sides was 12. 3 squares, 4 sides is 12. 12 and 12 is what? 24. Perfect. Bing, bing, bing. That's the answer. Here we go. So here we go. The total number of sides was 24. There are 5 blocks. Our answer was our last, the last check, guess and check we did, which was 2 hexagons, and 3 squares. And you're going to write that now on the line here. 2 hexagons, 3 squares. The spelling of those figures is up here so you can copy, so you spell them correctly. I'll give you a second to do that, and then we're going to move on to number 3. Okay, number 3, there are 30 apples in a basket. Half are red, and there are 5 more green apples than yellow apples. How many of there are each color? So first of all, let's write down on our scratch paper, let's write down red, green, yellow. Just sort of write that down and space it out. We're going to see if we can figure out this one sort of using mental math, how many there are of each. Now it told us how many there are in total. There are 30 in total. And then it also told us that half of them are red. So we can figure this out. We don't even have to, we can figure this out mentally if we want. What is half of 30? Half of 30 are red. Good, 15. So next to the red, where you wrote on your paper, write 15. Okay, so now what we could have done here too is we could have done 30 divided by 2 to get the half, but we kind of know 15 is half of 30. Now listen to this. There are 5 more green than yellow. Now how many are left? So far we have 30 apples, 15 are red. That means there's 15 left that could be green or yellow. Okay, so we have 15 left, and we're trying to find out of those 15, how many are green, how many are yellow. But listen to this. It says there are 5 more green than yellow. What would be 5 more green than yellow that would add up to 15? Think about that for a minute. If I had 10 green and 5 yellow, isn't that 5 more green than yellow? You're right, it is. So our answer here for this one is 10 green plus 5 yellow plus 15 red gives us the total 30. I'll do that one more time for you again. It's 10 green plus 5 yellow plus 15 red gives us 30. Again, this was half were red and there were 5 more green than yellow. You just kind of have to use some really good thinking on this one and sort of plot it out. Okay.